Okay, in this tutorial, we are going to talk about another great WPF control, and that is the slider. I'm going to start off by splitting my grid into two columns. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, we got our two columns. In the first column, I'm going to add a stack panel. And in this stack panel, we're going to create our slider. All right, so slider's here. It's kind of hard to see it. Let me zoom that in. Let's go with 100%. It's a little too close to the edges, so I'm going to give it a margin. Let's go with 10 for now. And let's get a background overhead. Okay, so we have our slider right there. All right, next, I like to add a text block. And I want to set the text of this text block bound to the slider. And to be able to do that, I'm going to need a name for my slider. So let's go with x column name. Let's call this red slider. Okay. Now I can bind my text to slider. So binding element name, it's going to be red slider, and the path is going to be the value. Let's go ahead and increase the font size as well. Font size with 33 for now. All right. So let's build and run this. See what we have so far. Okay. All right, so let's talk about some of the properties. So if you noticed, our minimum value and minimum value is 0 and maximum value is 10. That's because that's default, but it doesn't have to be. We can definitely change that by going to the properties, by selecting our slider, or we can type in XAML. So let's do it from the properties first. So here right here, we have the minimum and maximum values. So I can increase this to 100 with no problem. And that will actually type in the code for me. Okay, now if I run this again, you'll see our maximum value will increase to 100. Perfect. Okay, let's take a look at other properties we have here. The next one I want to touch on is going to be this cursor. Cursor changes the icon that we use to drag the slider. So right now it's set to nothing. That's why we have the mouse, but we definitely can change that to one of the options in here. So I'm gonna go with the hand. Okay, and as you can see, the XAML code was added here. Let's run this again. Now, if I mouse over, hand will appear. Now, if we slide it, again, a nice little hand icon. Okay. Let's take a look at the other properties we have. Value. So value 0 is set to 0 currently. This is the starting value. If you need to, we can definitely increase that to something else. Say if you want the starting value to be 5, I could definitely do that. I'm gonna stick with 0 for now since I don't really need it. What else do we have? We have small change, and right now this one is set to 0.1, and that's when let's run this. Let me show you. If I select the slider and use the arrow keys to move the slider, you'll see that small change comes into play. If I change this, say, to a 1, or 2, now the small changes changed to 2. Now if I use the arrow keys to slide the slider, it should increase in increments of 2. Select the slider, and you can see it's moving every 2 points. That's the small change. Let's take that back to, let's stick with 1 for now. All right, tick frequency, tick placement, these go hand in hand. Okay, so tick, let's first actually place the tick. If I say top left, yes, top left, that's gonna place it 100 ticks up top here for each point. Let me actually zoom that in. Let's go at 150. So you see these tiny little ticks. So we've got 100 of them because the frequency is set to 1 by default. But we can change that to say 10. Now every 10 points we have a tick. Okay. So instead of 100, now we have 10 ticks. Okay. And along the same lines, large change. Large change is when you click anywhere else than the thumb itself, it moves a little bit. Right now it's set to 1, but if I set this to say 25, now let's run this, see what happens. Now if I click here, I'll move 5 points, 50, 75, 100. So that's what the tick placement, tick large change does. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and add ticks to the bottom too. I think it looks better when you have on the bottom, but it's just my taste. So I have ticks on the both sides of the, well, top and bottom of the slider. All right, let's see what else do we have here. I think those are the most basic and useful ones that I find myself needing them. Okay, so that's slider. And now we are going to go ahead and create a fun project with slider. I'm going to actually build a color generator with this slider. So we need a couple of them. We're going to need 2 more of these. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste this a couple of times. And we have some errors. That's because We're using the same names 3 times, and we can't do that. So I'm going to change this to green slider. And this one blue to blue slider. So we got green, but let's change backgrounds as well. All right, so we're going to use this tree slider as our color generator. Let me zoom out. Zoom out a little more. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and add a ellipse here. So I'm going to go below the stack panel and add an ellipse. Let's get a fill of orange. And let's place this in grid.column 1. Okay. I'm going to need to give it a name as well because I'm going to reference it later on. So let's call this my ellipse. Okay. All right. Next, I'm going to assign an event handler to each of these. I'm going to start with red, assign event handler, and create our logic to change the color of our ellipse. And actually, yes, let's do that first, and then we can add text block as well. So the event handler we are looking for is value changed, not in text block. That's going to be inside our ellipse. So value changed. Yes, we want to double click that and create a new event handler, and right click and go to definition. So our event handler is created for us. Let's inside our event handler, first thing I want to do, I want to grab the value of these 3 sliders. Okay, but before doing so, I want to change this maximum value to 255 because each color has a value of a maximum value of 255. So I'm going to change this maximum values to 255. Okay. Next, I'm going to go back to our event handler and grab those values. So these are doubles, let's say red color. I need the red slider dot value. Okay. Next one is going to be green and green slider dot value. Double blue slider dot value. So we got all 3 values from sliders. So now we want to assign these values, use these values to create a color. Okay, so the value is going to be between 0 to 255. So let's grab my ellipse dot fill equals to new solid color brush, and I'm going to use the overloaded version here that takes a color as parameter. So I'm going to say new color, And inside here, I'm going to need my alpha channel set to 255 because we want that to be visible. And red, which is represented by a letter R, I want to set this to the red variable here that comes from my red slider. And we are getting an error. And this error says cannot convert double to byte. So this needs to be type of byte. So we are going to cast it to byte, and that should take care of it. Beautiful. Next, it's green equals to green. Well, actually convert cast first, byte, green. And last but not the least, we need the blue. B equals to blue cast first, then blue. And close this out. So that should take care of it. All right, so now if we build and run this, all right, beautiful. So now as you can see, the color of the ellipse is changing based on the position of the red. All these values are changing because we assigned them all to the same slider. So let's fix that. Let's go back to our design and XAML. First, we want to change these text blocks and assign to each that belongs to, in other words, red goes to red, green to green, blue to blue. So we want to change this to green slider, and change this to blue slider. Okay, that should take care of the text blocks. Next, events. So we want to assign the same event to every one of these sliders. Copy and paste. Okay, now they should all work. Let's run this. Actually, let me remove the color, the orange color from the slider. So I'm going to remove this color, so it's empty. Let's run this again. Not that it changes anything, but just to give it a clean appearance before we start off. So red is working. Take this back to 0. Try green. Green is working. Let's try blue. Let's take this back to 0 and try blue. And blue is working. Beautiful. If you try all three together, it still works. Now you can generate our own colors with our color generator. And to do that, I'm just going to add a text block right here, and that's going to grab our color from the ellipse. So let's go right below here. Let's add text block, text box, so we can copy and paste. I want to set the text and bind it to I want to name my ellipse, and I need the fill property as path set to fill. And let's increase the font size. And close this out. Okay, so right now, nothing is in here. Let's run this one more time. All right, so now the color shows up here as we change the color. And we can copy and paste this color, use somewhere else for another purpose. It's all up to us. Okay, so that's the ellipse. Until the next one, have a good day now. Thank you.